Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1399.
You can learn what to do and what not to do. That stuck with me for my entire career.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hey Cars Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Covercraft. I've protected my vehicles with their products for decades. Want to keep your vehicle's interior looking new? It's easy with Covercraft seat covers. They'll protect your seats from the daily abuse of pets, children, weekend adventures, and even those everyday spills. It's a fast, easy, and inexpensive way to keep your vehicle looking new. All Covercraft seat covers are easy on, easy off design that are machine washable. You can choose from many fabric options, colors, and accessories, all designed and carefully sewn for your special vehicles. Their seat gloves are semi-custom fit for cars and trucks, and their seat savers, a favorite of mine, are custom tailored to fit your seats like a glove. Work truck seat covers are tough, durable denim weight fabric. It's like putting a pair of rugged jeans on your truck's seats. Want to stay warm? Covercraft also offers seat heaters. Covercraft is the right choice. Learn more today at covercraft.com and tell them Mark at Cars Yeah sent you. That's covercraft.com. Mark Green here. I'm a car care fanatic. You know that. And I've discovered Migliore luxury car care products. Migliore Strata Coating is a ceramic treatment that you can easily apply by yourself. It provides your special vehicle with a high gloss finish and lasts for over a year. Migliore Strata Coating features an extreme hydrophobic finish, so water sheets right away, reducing water spotting, and it makes your car washing a breeze. With over 100 positive reviews on Amazon, this is a time-tested product that's made here in the USA. With fall and winter on the way, protect your vehicle's finish with Migliore. You'll find all their premium car care products at MiglioreWax.com. Plus, you'll get 10% off at checkout by using the code CARSYEAH. 10% off. What a deal. That's Migliore Wax.com. Hello, automotive enthusiasts. I'm revved up and very excited to introduce today's very special guest, Ed Welburn. Hey, Ed, are you buckled up and ready for a fun ride?
I'm ready. I'm excited. You should see the big grin on my face right now.
Oh, you just warmed my heart, my friend. This is awesome. Ed Welburn is the former general manager, vice president of global design, and was responsible for all the design of GM vehicles worldwide from 2003 to 2016. The same position once held by the great Harley Earl and Bill Mitchell. He was only the sixth person to have led GM design in the company's history. He was involved in the design of multiple cars and trucks for General Motors. Ed was inducted into the Automotive Hall of Fame, received the Eyes on Design Lifetime Achievement Award, and is the only car designer to have his archives placed in the Smithsonian Museum. A wing of the Detroit Institute of the Arts has been named in his honor, and he received an honorary doctorate of fine arts from the College for Creative Studies in Detroit. Ed is an active board member of Tony Bennett's Foundation. That's very cool. Exploring the arts, and a judge at the Concours events including Pebble Beach, Amelia Island, Hilton Head, Suzuka Japan, and Radnor Hunt. His new chapter in life right now is that he's the CEO of Welburn Media and is the executive producer of an exciting new movie project. We're looking forward to hearing about that. So Ed, I've told our listeners just a little tiny bit of your incredible career. Would you take a brief moment, share a little more about yourself and a very obvious passion you have for automotive design?
This passion that I have goes back from early childhood. You know how toddlers do stick-figure drawings of people and horses? I was drawing cars. That's all I drew. I mean, even at age 2 and a half, I was drawing cars. And by age 8, my parents took me to the Philadelphia Auto Show, and when we walked in, I saw this concept car that I fell in love with, and I said, when I grow up, I want to be a designer for that company. I was just 8 years old, and it was a Cadillac concept. And, it's
nice.
That's been my journey.
Yeah, well, your journey's come a lot further since that little 8-year-old with the bright eyes looking at that Cadillac concept car. As we continue on your journey, though, I always like to start by asking my guests for a success quote or a mantra. This is some kind of saying that's been instrumental in your life and your success. It's a really nice way to get the inspirational tires turning here on Cars Yeah. So, Ed, grab the wheel.
First off, I find inspiration from everything around me, from nature, from music, from food, from great designs. I mean, I'm the lucky guy to have walked in the footsteps of the greats like Harley, Earl, and Bill Mitchell, and Irv Rubicki, and Chuck Jordan, and Wayne Cherry, and those are my predecessors, and spent time with designers in Italy like Giugiaro and the group there at Bertoni. So, I've just gotten inspiration from so many places. There was a GM executive who years ago said to me, and I was just a young designer at the time, he said, you can learn a lot from these guys. And he was kind of pointing at other executives at GM. He said, you can learn what to do and what not to do. That stuck with me for my entire career.
Yeah, no doubt. Very important to know what not to do. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Especially in a very large organization like General Motors. Well, you touched on this a little bit. I wanted you to share a story that instigated this passion you have for car design. And if there was really a pivotal moment when you knew you were going to be an automotive designer, was it really at 8, or did it come a little bit later when you were a little more mature and you realized,
really,
you know what?
At age 8, I told my parents that I wanted to design cars for that company, and I was pointing at that concept car. I didn't know what kind of car it was, and found out it was a Cadillac. And by age 11, I wrote my first letter to GM Design. I wanted their counsel. I wanted to know what I need to do to become a car designer, what schools do I need to attend. I'll never forget writing that letter. I was just 11. Wrote the letter, and they sent me great information. And all the way through school, I stayed in touch with them. It's like once a year, I'd write another letter to them.
Yeah. This is an incredible golden nugget you've just dropped here, especially for young people who are thinking of a career that is bigger than life. And you've got to think about an 8-year-old, 11-year-old saying, I want to design cars, be the head of design for GM. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement for a young person to make. But the thing I love about this, that's a super incredible lesson here, is staying in touch with people. The fact that you were writing letters to people and communicating with them at that level, the only level you had back then, is a tremendous lesson for people even today, don't you think?
Exactly. When I became, many years later, when I became head of design for GM, I would receive letters from kids, because they had heard my story. I made sure they got a response. That was important to me. And, you think about it, back when I was a kid, it was writing a letter with an ink pen on, line paper and putting it in the mail and sending it off. It's a totally different world.
Yeah, it is. Although I'll tell you something, my mom taught me the value of writing thank you notes, and I still do that today. I taught both my kids, and we had a great little pre-show chat, Ed and I talked to him about my son, Blake, and how he was able to secure a job at a great company, and primarily did it through communicating through letters. From that first interview, writing a thank you note, and even that interviewer said, you're one of the few kids that has ever written a thank you note for an interview. People just don't do it anymore.
They
and it
don't.
stood out.
Yeah.
It's
great
still
value.
valuable. Yeah, still valuable today for sure. So I thank my mom for that. She used to make me write thank you notes before I could play with my Christmas toys. I didn't like that at the time, but I thank you, Mom. She's still with us, and I appreciate that more than you know.
That's special.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would love for you to share a big challenge or even a big failure that you faced along the way. Most people look at a career like yours and they think, oh, it's just one success after the other. Everything was fairly easy. But in reality, maybe not. And the reason I want you to share a specific story is to help us learn what the learning lesson of that situation was. And then tell us how that experience helped you gain even more momentum as you move forward in your career and your business and your life.
There really were a lot of successes along the way. And I was so fortunate to have the guidance from my parents, on this journey. All the way through high school, I stayed in touch with GM, worked very hard. Senior year, applied to all the design schools that were on their list. And I started to receive rejection letter after rejection letter after rejection letter. It was, it was depressing, one after another. Finally, I decided, it was kind of a last minute deal. I was kind of at the edge there. I applied to Howard University School of Fine Arts. They did not have a major in car design, but I applied to their School of Fine Arts and was accepted. And the instructors there helped to tailor a program for me using both sculpture department and the industrial design department to really help me develop my portfolio so I could do what I wanted to do. They knew the mission I was on, and they did everything they could to help me.
Wow. Again, you're dropping golden nuggets all over the place for us today here. Now, did you pursue that concept with them, or was it a matter of you talking with them saying, here's what my end goal is? How can you help me get there?
Yeah, I told them what my end goal was, the mission that I was on, and they did everything they could to help me reach that goal. Yeah.
Well, kudos to a university, Howard University, for doing that. That's tremendous because
and
a
I
lot of
ended up
schools
getting a summer internship at GM at the end of my junior year. And they told me at the end of that summer, from just go back, finish your senior year. We want to hire you.
Wow. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say.
Yeah.
So there you go. Yeah. Very creative. Well, let's have a little bit of fun and talk about your first really special vehicle, that first vehicle that you got for yourself that had a great meaning for you in some way, and maybe share a memory you have about that ride.
I think about that a lot. I mean, I've had so many cars. Even in high school, I had a number of cars. My very first car was a Corvair Monza, 61.
Oh, cool.
And to be honest, I prefer the second gen, and I still want to get one of them. I'm going to get one, But it was a lot of fun. I loved the car. But I think the car that I had the most memories of would have been the Buick Grand Sport that I had. It was a 65 Buick Grand Sport. Big horsepower, and yet in some ways understated because, everybody's focused on the GTO or the Chevelle, but the Grand Sport had just as much power. It was a fun car.
Yeah, well, pretty cool car. Now, I happen to know, I'm not sure if you still have this car, but you bought a car from Reggie Jackson, right?
Yes, I still have it too.
Do you? Yeah, tell our listeners a little bit about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine so. But tell our listeners a little bit about this very special Corvette.
It's a great Corvette. I call it the most expensive cappuccino I ever bought. I was in Monterey. I had a meeting with a guy at Starbucks. On my way out of there, I run into Reggie Jackson, who I've known for years. We're standing there talking, and everyone's interrupting us to either talk about cars or to talk about baseball. So we went over to his garage, and his garage is the most masculine garage you ever want to see. All the big muscle cars and, a lot of trophies and stuff from baseball. And then there's this silver 57 Corvette sitting there. I love the 57 Corvette. And it just stood out because it's not a big muscle car. It's not a big block motor and anything. And I said, man, Reggie, it looks, and I'd never seen one in silver. And silver is a color we always use in a design studio. So it kind of looked like a design car. And he said, well, it's for sale. I bought
Expensive cappuccino indeed.
Yeah. It wasn't until I got the car and started the research, I realized how rare it was. Then he built 60 Corvettes that year in silver. And it was also the first year for fuel injection and the first year for a 4-speed. And my car's every bit of that.
It's brilliant. Well, I've seen pictures of it. It's stunning. I love silver. I've had a lot of silver cars. My wife always says, why do you just keep buying silver cars? But I love the way the light bounces off. You can see all the lines of the car.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think they're beautiful.
That's why we in design generally use silver when we're developing the design, and you put some color on it, and you can analyze the surface, I think, better in silver than any other color.
Well, yeah, I would imagine so. And what's amazing to me is how colors can really dynamically change the character of a vehicle as well.
Yes.
I know the day we're recording this, yesterday, Porsche just announced and brought their brand new all-electric Taycan out, if I'm saying that right. Taycan, they have some weird names for their cars. Taycan. At any rate, somebody will correct me on that. But The one they brought out was white, which I kind of get why they do that, but white just kind of sucks everything up. I was kind of disappointed. I wanted to see it in something different so I could kind of explore the lines better, but I'm sure I'll have plenty of opportunities.
Yeah, generally white, you lose a lot of the shape, but it's one of those signature colors for the Porsche brand. Yeah, and so I kind of understand why they would do that.
Why they did that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Do you have a seller's remorse?
That's not the only silver car I have. I've got a new Z06 Corvette. So the two cars sit there, both of them silver with red interiors.
Oh, wow. Nice. I like it. Yeah. What do you think about the new Corvette design, the mid-engine design?
Oh, I love it. I'm very excited about it. I was very involved in it. I consider it to be the last car I worked on at GM. And I feel very good about it. And there are a lot of details that continued to be worked on after I left. And so I was as excited as anyone to be there at the reveal just to see how the final details came out on the car.
Yeah, I got to see a real one during Pebble Beach Car Week a few weeks ago out at the racetrack at Laguna Seca, and I was really impressed by that car. I liked what I was seeing before online, but seeing it in real life, sitting in the car, crawling all over the car, they've hit this one out of the park again, I think. Yeah. It's brilliant. And as Corvettes always have been, you get so much bang for the buck.
Oh, it's amazing. It kind of like it defies the laws of physics that a car can have that kind of interior space, that kind of luggage space, that kind of performance at that price point. And the interior is just phenomenal. Yeah, I couldn't be happy.
A lot of people fired up. So well done, you and your team there. Well done. Bravo.
Yeah.
How about seller's remorse? I'm guessing there's maybe one car in your life you wish you hadn't let go. Maybe a lot of cars, but let's take money out of the equation because that muddies everything up. I want to tug on your heartstrings here, your creative core.
I could list a number of different cars, but I gotta say, I had a black Cadillac CTS V coupe that I loved, and I don't know why I got rid of it. I wish I had that car. I mean, what a phenomenal car.
They're beautiful. What Cadillac has done in the last 4 or 5 years, I think is absolutely phenomenal. My mother-in-law bought a brand new Cadillac a few years ago, and we lost her last year, sadly. And her car was sitting in her garage, and we were trying to figure out what to do with it. And I never thought of myself as a Cadillac guy because, frankly, it was kind of like Dad's old car, kind of that kind of thing. And I like driving that thing. It was nice.
Yeah. So,
So
I'd
good looking car too.
That CTS-V, one of the first cars I bought. Well, the first car I bought after I started work at GM was a Pontiac Firebird Formula 455, and that was a cool car. It was very, very cool. Yeah. It would have been a 73 Firebird.
The early, exactly. Very nice. Well, I would love for you to talk about what has you excited and fired up. A lot of people think of retirement as slowing down and maybe going to the golf course or the beach or whatever. Not for Ed. Ed is a busy guy. I want you to share more about a couple things. One is this Welburn Media that you're involved in, this new business, and also a little bit about Tony Bennett's foundation, Exploring the Arts. This is very interesting, too, in this film.
I mean, when I retired, because it's been 3 years now, the first 2 years, it was kind of like a celebration of 44 years. It was 44 years I was at GM. And celebration and receiving awards and, that type of thing, which is very exciting. Then all of a sudden, okay, what's next? And yes, I'm on the board, Tony Bennett's board. Tony Bennett's just a terrific guy to work with, and his foundation supports a number of schools of the arts in the New York area and also now out in California as well. And so I spend time in those schools. These schools for the arts are unbelievable that his foundation supports. So that's one of the things. But the movie project, I got to tell you, I'm so excited about it. I'm more excited about this than I am about the mid-engine Corvette.
Oh, okay. That's saying a lot.
This project, and it's a totally different world for me, yeah. Although in some ways dealing with the creative people in the movie industry is much like dealing with the creative people in car design. The project is in the early phases where the writers are working, the phenomenal writers are working on the movie now and should be complete with the writing in the next, I think, 3 weeks. And then we start talking to directors and lead actors and keep marching on.
Is it too early to kind of give us a little glimpse of what this film's about?
Well, we have a big press release in mid-September. I kind of caution, so stay tuned around the 15th of September.
Well, we'll keep this in mind, Ed. We're recording this the beginning of September, but your show doesn't come out live until October 11th. So by the time the show airs, where could people go when they're hearing it to learn more about this? Is there going to be a website? Well,
there will big press announcement. I think it's around the 15th or 16th. And, first, as I'm learning, the announcement is within the movie industry that, what's happening there. And then it becomes more open to the public the next day. And, but, I discovered something very exciting about 10 or 12 years ago. I was at the Indy 500. Corvette was a pace car, and Colin Powell was driving the pace car. And I was driving one of the other Corvettes, because they have, like a whole gaggle of them there at the start. And I was driving one of them, and we did 2 warm-up laps with the race cars behind us, and then we peel off, and then the single pace car takes them for another lap. So anyway, that was huge for me, because I'm a huge fan of the Indy 500, have been since childhood. So after the race is over, I go back to the hotel, freshen up to go to the after parties, go into the hotel room, flip on the TV. It's on PBS, and they're starting to show this special called For Gold and Glory. And it was about how in the 1920s, the jazz age and all of that. At Indianapolis, blacks were not allowed to be drivers or mechanics. They weren't allowed to do that. And so there were some businessmen in Indianapolis, both black and white, who started a racing association for these drivers. And they had their own series of races, which would have anywhere from 15 to 20,000 fans at every race. No one knows this story. I didn't know. Here I am, a big fan of Indy 500, and I knew nothing about it. And so I'm sit there and watch a documentary, and I'm late for the after parties because I'm so, yeah. And of course, PBS, I ordered the DVD and the book, and I've read the book multiple times and watched the DVD. Who knows how many times I've watched it. But about less than a year ago, I was talking to a producer in Hollywood, and I said, someone needs to do a movie about this. This is an unbelievable story. There's so many layers to the story that are so fascinating. Someone needs to do a movie. And she said, yeah, you're absolutely right, because we watched the documentary again together. And she said, you're right, and you should be the executive producer, and I'll be a producer, and we'll bring a team together. And next thing I knew, we had a team of writers and producers and a lot of excitement around this project.
Wow, that's very cool. So, what was the name of the documentary again?
For Gold and Glory.
For Gold and Glory. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's very exciting.
It's about 45 minutes long. It's fascinating story.
Yeah, I'll make sure I find that, put a link to that on Ed's show notes page. Ed, up next is the last lap before we put the pedal to the metal. Let's say thank you to today's Cars Yeah sponsors. When you want proven performance, there's one brand that's been around since 1938. That's Edelbrock, building the finest American-made performance products for the street and track. Edelbrock's products are designed and dyno-proven to deliver maximum results. Edelbrock has thousands of made-in-the-USA performance products for all makes and models. From their new AVS2 carburetor and innovative ProFlow 4 EFI for your muscle car or truck, to superchargers for your daily driver and more, visit Edelbrock.com to check out the latest products for your ride. And when you're ready to check out, enter CARS YEAH in the coupon code and get 10% off your order. That's Edelbrock, automotive performance since 1938. You take care of your cars, but who takes care of your investments? Tune-ups aren't just for engines. Updating your financial plan is important too. Your GPS may take you from A to B, but it won't help you on the road to financial freedom. For that, you need a good co-pilot and a very trusted advisor. Chris Kimball, CFP, is just the man for the job. He'll guide you down that road without driving you crazy. For over 25 years, Chris has helped people just like you and me with their financial planning and investments. With a master's degree in financial services, he is eminently qualified, and he's a car guy too. Learn more at chrisvkimball.com or call 866-ON-A-PLAN. Securities through Money Concepts Capital Corp., member FINRA SIPC. CK Financial Services is not affiliated with Money Concepts Capital Corp. Are you looking for a way to get your products or services into the ears of thousands of automotive enthusiasts around the globe? I can help. This is Mark Green here at Cars Yeah, and I'd be honored to be an influencer and ambassador for your brand in a unique and personal way. 5 days a week, thousands of subscribers and listeners enjoy the Cars Yeah podcast and website. Contact me today and I'll show you how at mark@carsyeah.com or connect with me through the Cars Yeah website at carsyeah.com. All right, Ed, we are back, and I have a bit of an introspective question for you. I'm going to get into your head a little bit here. If you woke up tomorrow, manifested as a vehicle, not what you want to be, but how you perceive yourself as a vehicle, what would Ed be and why?
You know, I'm sure everybody would probably say, oh, yeah, he's going to say a Cadillac or a Corvette. Actually, I think it'd be Aston Martin.
Really? Okay, and why
I think
is that?
it's Aston Martin. And if not that, maybe... No, I think Aston Martin because it is very sporty and yet it is elegant and somewhat timeless. Yeah.
I like it. I think that works. All right, we are entering the last lap. I'm going to fire off a series of questions and ask you to give our listeners some very quick blips of that Aston Martin throttle. So here we go. What's the best automotive advice you've ever received?
Oh, automotive advice. I don't know. I think it is, you got to stay focused on what you do and not try to do the job of the engineers and all that. Probably the best advice is building a great relationship with engineering. Many designers and engineers don't get along.
One of the things that strikes me, Ed, is, and this is an interesting way you answer this question, because I've had like Ralph Gilles and other designers on the show that talk about relationship building and the importance. For the role that you were in for as long as you were, you have to be a good relationship builder, no doubt, and an excellent manager, of course. But you're also a very calm, even-keeled guy. Is that retirement, Ed, or is this the way you always have been?
No, that's just the way I am, anyone who's on the line who worked with me or for me knows that. I enjoy what I do, and I just want everyone else to have as much fun as I do. Building that great relationship with engineering is so important. Building a great relationship with marketing and when you're working I was working in so many different countries. We had design studios in 7 countries. You had to build relationships with different cultures, and that's important.
Yeah, amazing thing. What a wonderful life. How about a personal habit? Is there one that you feel you have that has contributed to your many successes over the years?
Treating everyone the way I want to be treated. I think that's probably it. The
golden rule,
yeah,
as we were all taught, or most of us were taught as little kids. Remember in Bible study class, just treat people the way you like to be treated. Pretty simple.
Exactly.
You wish everybody would do that. How about a resource? There are so many these days. I mean, can you imagine when you started your career, if you had everything at your fingertip like we have now? Is there a resource that you're really fond of that's kind of a go-to for you these days?
I'm still pretty simple with all that. I'm Googling things. I'm looking things up on the internet all the time. And I'm amazed at the information, not just on things that are current or things that are pointing to the future, but on historic things. It's just fascinating, what I'm able to find. But there's no substitute for actually being out there, spending time with people, talking with people. To be in isolation in your own little environment on the internet is one thing, but being out talking with people is so important.
Yeah, no doubt. I have people talk to me sometimes, my mom says, because I pretty much do this podcast and even part my TV show that I launched this year by myself. I do have a team that helps me with filming that, but the podcast I do myself. And she said, don't you get kind of lonely all day sitting there by yourself? And I said, Mom, I get to talk to some of the coolest people all over the planet all day long.
Yeah.
I never feel alone. I know I don't get to be with them, but many I do get to meet eventually at different events. But talking with people, it's incredible what you can learn if you just ask a great question and listen.
Exactly.
Well, here's another one. If I could arrange for you to sit down and have a drink or a meal with anyone in the automotive industry, living or deceased, now I know you've met with an incredible number of people, but is there one that maybe you haven't met with that you'd like to sit down and talk to?
I have spent time with a lot of very significant people, but I'd have to say, there was a person, and I was a young designer working for Bill Mitchell. And of course, as a young designer, you couldn't sit down and have a drink with him. I'd love to sit and have a drink with Bill Mitchell.
Yeah.
Just a phenomenal designer. Earl gets an awful lot of credit and should, but I think Bill Mitchell should receive even more credit than he does.
That would be cool. Can you imagine? Hey, remember me when I was a little kid?
I have a great photograph of me as a summer intern shaking hands with Bill Mitchell.
Wow.
It's a hoot.
There's a trophy for sure. I'd like to see that. Now, you mentioned a book earlier. Is there one book in particular you'd like to share with our listeners?
The book that's leading to this movie, For Gold and Glory, Todd Gould wrote the book, which led to a documentary. It's a fascinating read. The story's incredible.
Fantastic. Well, I'll make sure I put that book, a link to it, on Ed's show notes page on the Cars Yeah website. You'll find that at carsyeah.com. Just type in Ed or Ed Welburn, and that page will pop right up. All right, Ed, we're almost there. We're almost to the checkered flag, but I've got a question for you that I like to call a little bit of a doozy. Today, I'm going to buy you a collector car, any collector car on the planet. But there are some rules that might make your answer even more important. One is you can't sell it to buy a bunch of other toys with. So if you pick a Ferrari GTO, you're going to be stuck with it. Wouldn't be a bad thing, but you're going to be stuck with it. That $60, $70, $80 million car. You have to drive it. No garage queens allowed here. I want you to take this out on the road or the track and have fun with it. But here's the kicker. It's the only collector car you can have. That means that Reggie Jackson Corvette's got to go. It means the other cars have to go. You can only have one car in your garage. So choose wisely.
Boy, that's tough. It might be an Indy car. It might be, an Indy Roadster, because I just think they're really cool, the Roadsters. I got to say, my C7 Z06, it can't be one that I already have, right? Is that
it can. Yeah, that way I don't have to buy anything. I like that idea.
Think about it. That was a very special project to me, done during a very dark period in GM, during bankruptcy. It's a special project to me. Before I retired, I shipped it to Rome. We did a photo shoot at a Coliseum. I drove it to Tuscany, Monza, drove laps of Monza in it, went to Le Mans, Goodwood. It's been the Colin Powell's house. It's been the Mario Andretti's house. That's kind of a special car to me. I'm never getting rid of it. I would think
so. Yeah. Well, I kind of like this because I don't have to buy you a car. But more importantly than that, the fact that you have your dream car, very few people on this show have said that. And I've had some interesting answers to that question. Some have been very what you'd call mundane cars, but they were maybe their grandpa's car or their dad's car or their mom's car. But yeah, I think you got to keep that Z07 Corvette. And I tell you, the job that you guys did on that car, to me, and then to jump to the current car, big leaps, huge leaps, I think, from a design standpoint and a car guy. Kudos to you guys. What color is your Corvette? Of course. Why did I even ask the question? Of course it is. Geez, Mark. Duh.
and I wonder what color mid-engine Corvette I'll end up
You're going to have. I'm pretty sure that'll be silver as well. Oh, my gosh. Hey, Ed, you have taken me on a great ride today. This has been such a joy to me to have you on the show. Admired what you've done in so many respects over time. I want to thank you for sharing your incredible life's journey, and it's just getting better. Could you offer us a little parting piece of wisdom or guidance before you rip off into the sunset in that Corvette?
I've got to say, I've really enjoyed this. You could almost see my grin from here.
Good. Thank you.
This has been so exciting. I would like to say, your audience is made up of a lot of people who are passionate about car collecting, and they put incredible effort into maintaining their vehicles. And I would just ask that they spend the same amount of energy focused on their own personal health and get regular checkups. And if a doctor finds a problem, don't put it off. Don't ignore it. Don't wish it away, and don't drink it away. Get it handled.
Great words of wisdom. And I appreciate you saying that. We just lost my seventh guest I've had in 5 years that I've lost over the last 5 years, Jessie Combs, in a tragic speed record-setting accident that she had. And I've lost others, 3 this year alone. And also just friends of mine that at this point in our lives, you get ill and health is valuable and it's just tough. So Ed has some very wise words. Take care of yourself. Cars can come and go, but take care of yourself and take care of the people around you, most obviously. What's the best way for people to keep in touch with you and learn more about Welburn Media and this upcoming film? Do you have a website?
Right now, I'm so low-key. I'm so hunkered down on this movie project, and I'm doing some other design work as well. That's pretty much the way it is right now. And then it's almost like I will resurface in a few weeks in many different ways and move on from there.
Well, do me this favor, Ed, when you do get to that point where we're ready, and by the time this show comes out, I'm sure that the movie previews will be out and all that. You let me know where I can put on your show notes page how people can find out about that, and I will do that for you. Love to promote you in that film as it comes out, and congratulations on everything that not only you've done, but what you're continuing to do. Retirement is not about sitting around. You got to do stuff. You got to have a reason to get up in the morning, and Ed is a great example. Hey, Ed, thanks for being so generous today with your time, your expertise, and amazing experience you've shared. I could talk to you for hours. Until you and I talk again, I'll see you down the road.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, Mark Green here from Cars Yeah. Did you know you can now see me on the Cars Yeah TV show? It's a weekly visit to some of my past Cars Yeah podcast guests, and I take you along for the ride. You go behind the garage door and into their lives, their businesses, and you get to see what makes them successful. With tens of millions of viewers, Cars Yeah TV is making its mark. Cars Yeah TV is available on MAV TV and Lucas Oil Racing TV. You'll find MAV TV on Direct TV, Fubo TV, Fios by Verizon, or you can stream it through Lucas Oil Racing Television online. And they said I only had a face for podcasting.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.